AMD are bringing back the Ryzen 7 5800X3D to give gamers on AM4 an upgrade path in a world with extreme DDR5 memory prices. After all, if you're currently on AM4 with an older CPU, especially something without 3D V-cache, it's difficult to justify a full AM5 upgrade right now given the cost of DDR5 memory which is required for that platform. But with the official return of the 5800X3D, AMD will once again be offering something for gamers on AM4 that requires no DRAM purchase at all. The 5800X3D is returning as a 10th anniversary edition to commemorate 10 years of socket AM4. It hasn't quite been 10 years of Ryzen processors yet. Zen 1 debuted in early 2017, of course, but AM4 hit the market a little earlier, initially supporting some excavator models. If you were wondering if there are any changes between the new anniversary edition model and the old model, the answer is no, though people buying this part today will get, I guess, 10th anniversary branding on the box. So yeah, this is the same 5800X3D silicon revived for a market where AM5 parts don't make sense for everyone. Same 8 cores and 16 threads, same 4.5 GHz max boost clock, same 100 megabytes of total cache split into 96 meg L3 and 4 meg L2, of course with 64 meg of that L3 being 3D V-cache. It should perform identically to the 5800X3Ds that we've already tested, no funny business here, but what about the price? Well, let's find out after this.
Our 2026 Computex coverage is brought to you by MSI and their GeForce RTX 50 series graphics cards, including flagship models like the Supreme Liquid and Vanguard, both of which delivered class-leading results in our testing. Powered by NVIDIA's Blackwell architecture, RTX 50 series GPUs are the ultimate way to experience ray tracing, delivering more realistic lighting and visual fidelity than ever before. You'll also benefit from AI-powered DLSS 4.5 frame generation and NVIDIA Reflex for smoother, more responsive gameplay. So for more information on MSI's GeForce RTX 50 series of graphics cards, please check the links in the video description. Finally, a big thank you to G.Skill for helping make our Computex trip possible this year. G.Skill offers an outstanding range of DDR5 memory with AMD EXPO support designed to maximize AMD Ryzen performance. So for more information, please check the links in the video description.
About a month ago, we looked at all 6 and 8 core Ryzen X3D CPUs, so we have a pretty good idea how the 5800X3D stacks up today. In CPU-limited gaming, this flagship AM4 part is about 25 to 30% slower than the Ryzen 7 9850X3D, the fastest part on AM5. However, the 5800X3D, it's not too far behind non-X3D AM5 parts like the Ryzen 7 7700X and 9700X, so it still offers gaming performance competitive with current generation models. The most interesting piece of news about the 5800X3D 10th anniversary edition is the price. $349 US. That's $100 less than the launch price of the 5800X3D, but of course that model was released more than 4 years ago. It's not exactly a stellar deal when you look at the price history of this model. While it debuted at $450 in 2022, it quickly fell to below $350 by the end of that year, and for much of 2023 and 2024, it could be found in the $300 to $350 range, with a historic low on Amazon of just $270 US. So there is absolutely no doubt that people who bought a 5800X3D in 2023 got a better deal than spending $350 US on the same part today. It's also not a great price up against AM5 models like the Ryzen 5 9600X, which is available for $220 US. The 9600X is slightly faster than the 5800X3D in games and offers stronger productivity performance as well, despite being a 6-core model versus 8 cores for the 5800X3D. However, if you're on the AM4 platform with DDR4, you would need to do a full platform upgrade to use the 9600X. This is where DDR5 prices make that option unviable. Yes, the 9600X is $220, but you'd then need to spend at least $240 on just 16 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, plus the price of a new motherboard. The cost of a 9600X plus the DDR5 already far exceeds the price of the relaunched 5800X3D, so you can see why AMD has priced it where they have. They're extracting as much as they can from AM4 gamers, milking them if you will, while memory prices are high. The price is also typically in line with other X3D AM4 models. The 5700X3D, a slightly lower clocked version, typically costs around $330 new today, as most supply dried up at the end of 2025. Again, that part did cost under $250 about 6 months ago, but the market is different now. Similarly, if you go on eBay, used 5800X3Ds have typically been selling for between $450 and $500 US. A brand new anniversary edition model will actually be cheaper than used models when it launches on June 25th, unless the market for used 5800X3Ds crashes after this announcement. I should also mention that AMD are bundling a Carbice Ice Pad with the 5800X3D 10th Anniversary Edition. This is a carbon nanotube sheet cut into size to use as a thermal interface between the CPU and cooler, replacing thermal paste. It's designed to be easier to apply, longer lasting and higher performing. You can't normally buy these pads separately, but they're available as a $10 upgrade to CyberPower PC's pre-built systems, which gives you an idea of the value of that inclusion. So I'd love to sit here and criticize AMD for re-releasing the 5800X3D at a relatively high price point, and certainly this model could be even cheaper if AMD really wanted to offer outstanding value for gamers in tough times. But for those with slower AM4 CPUs looking for more performance without having to spend a ludicrous amount on DDR5, the new but old 5800X3D actually mightn't be too bad. And it's the first time you can buy one officially since they were discontinued in late 2024, so supply will be available. A far less exciting CPU that AMD are also announcing here at Computex is the Ryzen 7 7700X3D. This is a Ryzen 7 7800X3D, except instead of being clocked up to 5 GHz, it's a binned part that clocks up to 4.5 GHz. Same core and cache configuration. AMD will launch this model on July 16th at $329 US. As it's clocked 10% lower than the 7800X3D, you can expect the 7700X3D to be up to 10% slower. The 7800X3D is currently available for $377, so the new 7700X3D is coming in 13% cheaper. That seems reasonable, but given it's a version of a part that's existed on the market for years now, it's not overly exciting. And it's launching into a crowded AM5 X3D market, which also includes the flagship 9800X3D and 9850X3D, and the 6-core 7600X3D and 7500X3D. There's really going to be an X3D model at every price point from $500 down to slightly under $300 US, which is cool, I guess, but I just can't see many gamers rushing out to buy this one in the current climate. The good news is that as AMD are launching it officially, it should be more widely available than the 76 and 7500X3D models, which were region and OEM exclusives. It will therefore be the cheapest available AM5 X3D model in many cases. AMD have announced extended support for the AM5 platform at Computex. Originally, when the socket was announced in 2022, AMD detailed support through to at least 2025. This was extended to 2027 at Computex in 2024, and it's now been extended again to 2029 at this Computex. Crucially, AMD say that they are extending socket longevity for new product and architectures, which confirms this support is not just for minor re-releases, but fully new architectures. What this actually means in terms of CPU generations is still unclear, but we know for sure that AM5 will support upcoming Zen 6 models scheduled for release within the next year. Pushing support out to 2029 will likely encompass the Zen 7 generation as well, though we can't be 100% sure given AMD didn't explicitly confirm this. If AMD were to support Zen 7 on AM5, which has been rumored for a little while, this would be a huge win for AM5 early adopters and would give AM5 owners the same number of supported Ryzen CPU generations as AM4. Of course, this all hinges on AM5 actually supporting new architectures. AM4 technically got new CPUs as recently as 2025, but these were rehashed and binned models of existing Zen 3 parts. This commitment could mean that sort of support. AMD's own charts show AM4 as still supported in 2026, but let's hope it actually means truly new parts. Also in motherboard adjacent news, AMD announced EXPO ultra-low latency, a new iteration of EXPO memory that promises small performance boosts for gamers. Specifically, EXPO ULL introduces automatic memory overclocking, which pushes modules even harder than EXPO profiles to extract the best performance and lowest latency. According to AMD, when EXPO ULL is enabled on supported memory kits, they saw a 4% performance improvement versus the standard EXPO profile without ULL. The footnotes reveal this testing was performed using 32GB of DDR5 6000 at CL28, CL30 and CL36 timings, with the results from each timing averaged. We don't have the full details yet, but it seems this ULL mode is designed to automatically tighten secondary and tertiary timings on a given kit, similar to how some enthusiasts manually tweak those timings for better performance. AMD also claim a 13% performance increase for EXPO ULL versus stock JEDEC, with the supported spec for the Zen 5 CPUs they used being DDR5 5600CL40. This technology will be available from memory partners starting in June 2026, and we should have a video going into more detail on this later in the week when we visit some of the memory companies at Computex.
Also supporting our Computex coverage is Be Quiet and their excellent new range for 2026. Some of their latest offerings include power supplies like the Dark Power 6, AIOs such as the Pure Loop 3, additions to the light base lineup, and a great selection of peripherals. Be Quiet's entire range is German designed, enjoying excellent build quality and silent performance. So for more information, please check the links in the video description.
Lastly, for Computex, AMD are announcing the Radeon RX 9070 GRE, or at least I should say re-announcing this part with global availability, given the 9070 GRE first debuted in China over a year ago. But yeah, nothing much is happening at the moment in the graphics card space, so AMD are pushing out the GRE. Maybe they have too much bin silicon and need to get rid of it. Anyway, the RX 9070 GRE is the most cut-down version of AMD's Navi 48 RDNA 4 die. It features just 48 compute units, down from 56 in the RX 9070 and 64 in the RX 9070 XT. Its boost clock of 2.79 GHz is between that of the other 9070 models. Additionally, the memory interface is cut down from 256-bit with 16GB of G6 memory to 192-bit with 12GB of G6 memory. Along with the reduction in G6 speed, memory bandwidth is cut to just 432GB per second, and in this climate with less VRAM on board, it will be cheaper for AMD to produce than the 9070 models with 16GB. However, the global price is quite unusual. AMD have listed an MSRP of $549 US with June 1st availability. This means you should see performance testing from us shortly given the release date, but it also means it's debuting at the same MSRP as the RX 9070. The 9070 is still widely available, so this isn't a direct replacement. Rather, AMD are releasing the 9070 GRE alongside the other models and setting a price relative to the current market. You see, the RX 9070 is no longer a $549 card given current memory price constraints. The cheapest available models are $600 US, so the 9070 GRE is set to be available for $50 under the 9070. Not sure whether that's a great deal. You'll have to check out Steve's review shortly. It's also coming in about $100 more than the RX 9060 XT 16GB, which is currently sitting an unfortunate $100 above its MSRP at $449. AMD, though, they are directly comparing this model to the GeForce RTX 5060 Ti, claiming that model is $569, with the 9070 GRE offering 22% higher performance in their first-party testing at a slightly lower price. I assume here they're talking about the 16GB model of this card, which is $569 these days, well above its $429 MSRP. Of course, there's also the much worse 8GB model at the $380 MSRP. You can find those today, and funny how that card hasn't gone up in price because it sucks and no one wants it. And in case you missed it, FSR 4.1 is coming to the RX 7000 series in July 2026 and the RX 6000 series in early 2027, a nice boost for owners of older Radeon cards. This isn't news from Computex specifically, as AMD announced this a few weeks ago, which I covered in a separate video. The rest of AMD's announcements all relate to AI and agentic computing, but given gamers don't care about that stuff and if anything hate AI right now, I'm just not going to bother covering any of it. They'll save me some time, it won't waste your time with boring crap, and Balin over there, he won't need to stay up all night editing. So yeah, that's it for this one really. AMD's Computex announcements. Stay tuned for the RX 9070 GRE review, which will be on the channel pretty soon, given that card is supposed to be coming out in the next couple of days. As always, you can sign up to Patreon if you want to support Hardware Unboxed directly. We've got plenty more Computex coverage of stuff coming out soon, so yeah, stay tuned for that. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.